Quick introduction. Like Doug was saying, my name's Ian. I'm 33. I was born just outside of Toronto. I have been piercing now for over 13 years. I have opened up a few shops. One was out in Bolton, Ontario. Currently, though, I'm the owner-operator of 8-Bit Modification inside of Iron Lotus. That's down on Pembina. I've always been interested in body modification, but I was never really leaning towards tattoos and stuff like that. Piercings, scarification, implants, that's kind of what always fascinated me. Obviously, when it comes to tattooing, that does kind of get involved with the whole situation. Realistically, I never really intended to become a piercer. It was one of those things that just kind of fell in my lap, which doesn't happen very often in this industry. So I was kind of lucky when it came to that. Now, are you guys looking to get into piercings or tattoos? Both? Well, one thing I can tell you for sure is kind of pick one and go with it. A lot of the times you'll see us, we work side by side, but we can be two completely different entities. We have a lot of crossover stuff when it comes to sterilization, but the actual training, when it comes down to it, tattooing is more like drawing and artistics and how it sits on the body. Meanwhile, piercings is more like keeping things clean and jewelry and such like that. So try to figure out which one you want to go with and then specialize. Don't do both, whatever you do, okay? Simple things to kind of get yourself started. Don't just walk into a shop and be like, I want to work here. Chances are we're going to laugh at you, and we'll send you right back out the door. Might give you some information, but we're not going to take you too seriously, okay? One thing that's a good way to get into our good graces is to actually come in, get some work done, be friendly, show some actual interest in the industry before you decide to drop that bomb if this is what you want to do, right? Always make sure that the person you're going to work under, just do some research on them. You want to make sure that they've been around for a while, that they haven't been tattooing or piercing for 1 or 2 years, because chances are they're not going to be able to teach you everything that you could possibly run yourself into. Make sure they have a good experience. Look at their actual body of work, especially when it comes to tattooing. There can be people out there that just do nothing but flash work, right? Anybody can trace. You want to make sure that the person who's going to be teaching you can actually teach you tattoo etiquette, proper placements, and how things are supposed to flow in color schemes and stuff like that. When it comes to the piercers, actually ask them a lot of questions. We're more than willing to answer anything that you guys might want to throw at us. Also check their reputation. Ask your friends, ask people around, check the internet, see what everyone has to say about these people. A lot of people, especially when it comes to like Google and stuff like that, we're going to be brutally honest when it comes to what they're talking about. Some good places to start. There's a web series on YouTube by the name of The Modified World. It does kind of cater more towards like piercings and the extreme mods like implants and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of crossover information, and it's a good place to get some a good start as to where you could possibly go. And I know for a fact that there's at least one video that they have up there where they talk about how to get an apprenticeship and what to expect when you get yourself into one. The APP, that's the Association of Professional Piercers. They have their own website. There's tons of really good information on there. And same thing with Elaine Angel. She's a body piercer, and she has her own book. It's called The Piercing Bible. There's tons and tons of information. Now, once you actually get your actual apprenticeship, some things you're going to expect is, depending on which field you go into and who you work under, depends on the duration of what that could be. A lot of the times for piercings, you're going to look at 1 to 4 years. The average is 1 or 2 years, depending on how far you want to go with it. Tattooing does take a little bit longer. Those are generally 1 to 5 years. If you're looking to do the more extreme stuff, so say like implants, scarifications, all that kind of jazz, you can be looking at 2 to 5 years because you have to do the other apprenticeships first, right? There are 2 kinds of apprenticeships that you can get. One where you pay for it, just as if you're going to college. Depending on the field, the teacher that you get, you're going to be looking at anywhere from like $4,000 to $10,000. That's not always lumped out all at once. Just like with college, you'll pay little lumps here and there as you go throughout your training. You can get a free one, but that does require you generally to work at a shop for ideally a minimum of 1 year. That'll kind of show the people that you're working under that you understand what you're getting yourself into. You can show up every single day, and they can actually rely on you to actually be there. You can kind of get in on your own, but that's a lot trickier. If you try to get a full-time job or even a part-time job in a shop, and you actually haven't had that solid basis of an apprenticeship working in a proper situation, they might not take you seriously. You're going to have that quote-unquote scratcher mentality, which means that you could have some bad habits, and the fact that you don't have the same training that they do, they're not going to take you as seriously when it comes to that. Um, at first, though, all you're really going to do, like once you get your apprenticeship, is you're just going to shadow your mentor. You're going to be watching everything that they do. They're going to be telling you why they're doing this and why they're doing that. And after a while, you're going to start doing the mundane stuff of cleaning tubes and all that kind of fun jazz. You do get to sit there and watch the procedures get done. But for the most part, it's just you sitting back, watching what's happening for the first little while. Once you kind of get into the thing, once you actually get into doing stuff, they're going to make you do it over and over and over and over and over again. What this is going to do is it's giving you these little baby steps, teaching you the right ways, and ingraining that good habit into you so it becomes second nature. What this is really going to do is it tries to keep your clients and yourself as safe as possible. A lot of the times, if you don't put the effort forward, the person who's trying to teach you, they're not really going to give you that same effort back. If you don't show up half the time, you don't do too much, a lot of the times they're not going to take you all that seriously. You might just end up, sweeping floors for a year. I had an apprentice that's all he did because he didn't show up. He came up 2 days a week, if that. In this industry, like we can be pretty open. We'll tell anybody anything, but get your foot in the door and getting the respect that has to be earned for us. Here in Winnipeg, once you actually get started, you will have to write a test. That test it's 50 multiple choice questions, and once you've passed the test, you can apply for a license. To get either one of these, you do have to be in a licensed shop. So if you're working out of your house, you're not going to be able to get these things. Okay. Some things to expect on the day-to-day, like what I do every single day, is you got to clean everything. You got to disinfect counters. People don't like washing their hands on all our glass displays. You're going to see their fingerprints everywhere. So you got to clean the counters, the desks. Sweeping and mopping, especially this time of year, everyone trudges their crap all the way through the shop. Your room that you work in, that's something you actually clean more than once a day. If you don't do a procedure, obviously you don't need to clean it, but you're going to clean that room after every single piercing or tattoo that you get done. Obviously there's the things like the bathroom, and all this is just general keep up throughout the shop. A lot of the times there might be a desk girl or a desk boy who does these kind of stuff for you, but depending on your downtime, you might be called upon to do this kind of stuff too. Obviously dealing with clients, answering phones, taking appointments, doing the deposits, and any sort of paperwork that's involved with that. Every day your chances are you're going to be in the bio room. That's where you kind of go to clean up all your dirty tools. If you're tattoo artists, your dirty tubes and all that kind of fun stuff. With piercing, there's the jewelry and the gauze packs we have to make on a very regular basis. Lots of documents have to be filled out. A lot of tattoo shops don't have insurance behind them. So we have people sign waivers just in case things go wrong. Everybody knows what they're getting themselves into. Every time we run the autoclave, that's the thing that we use to actually sterilize all of our equipment. We have to mark down how long the cycles were, what the temperature got to, the date that it was done by, who it was done, who did it, as well as what was actually in the autoclave at the time. All this is really for is if down the road things aren't going right, so your autoclave stopped working, you can check your records and see where things started going amiss. Myself too, I actually fill out aftercare as well. This is just basically a form that lists everything that I went over, the type of jewelry that they have. There's also things like Facebook and Instagram. A lot of people like, sending messages that way. It's a lot easier to ask questions. Sometimes if you come into a shop, you can be a little nervous about certain things. Now, a lot of people who do get into this industry, just as if with like computers or any other field, you're going to continue your education throughout. If you stay stagnant, you're going to fall behind really easily because there's always advances coming along the lines. A lot of things that are a good, nice basis to start with that do have to happen on a regular are first aid training and bloodborne pathogens. It's pretty straightforward. Someone passes out, go into cardiac arrest, things like that. We need to know what to do at these times. The bloodborne pathogens just teach us about how to keep ourselves safe, how to keep you guys safe, how to properly disinfect our surfaces, and the symptoms that can come with a lot of the diseases that can be involved with blood. The APP, which is the Association of Professional Piercers, and the APT, which is the Alliance of Professional Tattoo Artists. Both of these are nonprofit organizations, and they hold conferences. I'm not too sure about the tattoo one. I've never been to it. I'm not a tattoo artist. But I know specifically with the APP, a lot of the times they're going to bring in specialists like dental hygienists. They teach you about oral anatomy. They're bringing general practitioners that'll teach you about general body anatomy, as well as like wound care and all that fun stuff. So they'll bring in sterile technicians that'll teach us about autoclaves, the new ones that are coming out, how to properly sterilize, and all that fun stuff that's involved with it. I know with the tattoo side of things, and you'll see this at a lot of just tattoo conventions, they'll hold classes that they'll teach you about portrait tattoos, line work, black and grays, and these are like the specialists in this area. Like people like Bob Tyrell will hold these classes at each conference, and it just kind of gives you little tidbits to kind of know where to get yourself down the road. There are some other. Oh wait, where am I? I'm losing myself. Over the last 15 years, there have been a few changes involved in both industries. There's a big emphasis, and this is self-imposed in our industry, on high quality. With tattoos, I don't know if you guys ever watched the Ink Masters and stuff. You'll see how they critique these people and the tiniest little things. This is where things are going for the tattoo artist, that the smallest little mistake can make that tattoo look good or bad. In the piercing sides, there's been a high demand for quality materials, things with high polishes. Everything's internally threaded now. And there's a lot more different jewelry styles that they've come up with over the years. Basically, we can just make you look even more prettier than we used to, say, 10, 15 years ago. A lot of things are a lot more socially acceptable. Saying that you're a tattoo artist or whatnot, people aren't going to look at you as that hoodlum or the biker anymore. They could actually probably see you more along the lines of an actual realistic artist. People don't look at you as a scum of the earth anymore, right? A few things that have come along, especially when it comes to the piercing sides of things, are surface anchors, O-needles. Like I said, there's lots of different jewelry options nowadays, and these things are constantly evolving. Some of these things I had no idea about when I first started because they weren't even around at that point. With tattoos, there are new tattoo machines too that don't use electricity. They use air pressure. So you can actually take that whole machine and throw that into the autoclave. Where if you take the current ones and throw that in, it just destroys them, right? So in the coming years, you'll probably see these things happening more and more often. With social media, like Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, that's kind of brought our industry together as a whole. Back in the day, it used to be, this is our little corner, don't come near us. Now it's become more of a, they're really good at this. This guy can do portraits, go see this guy. Who did you get pierced by? They're a good person. That's all that matters in the grand scheme of things, is that person's being kept safe and they get good work and then they're happy in the grand scheme of things. So all of this has just worked us together, or brought us all together, and this is while talking about the self-imposed raising of our own quality of work, just to kind of, have everybody else take us a little bit more seriously. There are, admittedly, some bad sides to be a piercer or a tattoo artist. Sometimes there's going to be long hours. Like I personally work, 8, 9 hours a day, 6 days a week. I don't take too much time off. We don't get vacation pay. If you take time off, that's on you. So I generally only take like a week or two off at Christmas just to go home, and that's about it. You do need to build up your clientele, right? So just like if you're a masseuse or a hairdresser, you're not going to have everybody coming to see you right away. You got that snowball effect where you start with a few people that trust you. They tell their friends, which tell their friends. And over the years, it does get a little bit easier, but at first, you're probably not going to be making that much, especially on the piercing side of things. So be patient and just keep pushing forward with things. It will come in the end. Not everyone will make it, though. A lot of people will get out of the industry within the first 5 years. It wasn't really what they expected. All they wanted is that rock star mentality. They just like the idea of doing cool work, working at a cool job, and hurting people. That's all they really see it as. They don't see the tedious work that can come along with it, because not too many people talk about that too much. Winters for us too are extremely slow. So this is one of these industries where you kind of gotta work your butt off in the summer and then hope you can make it through the winter a lot of the times too. There are really a lot of cool things though. You get to meet a lot of really cool people. A lot of my best friends are people that I've worked on. My apprentice, Alyssa, she was one of them. Sometimes you even get to travel for work. So you can plan your trips around these things where you can be like, I'm gonna go work at that shop for a day or two. You get to actually write that off too. It becomes a business trip. There's no early mornings. I don't generally get up before 10, right? This is, for me, getting up at 9 today was a really early morning for me. You get to watch people grow up. Some of them happen right in front of you, 14, 15, 16-year-old people getting pierced and tattoos. It's kind of like their coming of age moment. And if you've been in the industry long enough and those people keep coming back to you, you'll see them grow into adults, and it's a really cool thing to see. It's extremely satisfying. A lot of the times people come in, they're super nervous, they're even like shaking, And then you give them that body of work, and next thing you know, they're looking in the mirror and they're smiling, right? That's one of the best things that you can get in this industry, is having that client look at what you just did to them, smile, and say thank you, and then obviously give you money. That's about the grand scheme of things.